Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're going to be discussing the topic of analytics and how to effectively use them to grow and support your business. This is a topic that I've heard many business owners tell me over the years that they struggle with. And we really believe this is just due to the abundance of information that we see every day and just trying to disseminate it and see what actually matters. So, today we're going to talk about how to narrow down and organize all of that information that you're given to benefit your business today. So, just to introduce myself, my name is Danielle. I'm the CEO of Virtual Assist USA. We've been in business for 15 years now, providing virtual assistant services to clients. And usually I do these webinars with my COO, Gallicchio-Elz, who you also see here. She was not able to make it today, but her insights and knowledge are sprinkled all throughout this presentation. She's very knowledgeable in this area, and I will make sure that you get all of the information that she wanted to share with us as well. So let's dive in. Today we're going to be covering a few things. How important it is to remember that analytics are not a one-size-fits-all scenario. You need to make sure that you're setting goals and measuring areas that matter to your business. For example, to take one of our clients, we have a client that is a clothing brand, and they're not going to have the same analytics that we're looking at as another client that is in the financial services space. So for the clothing brand, we're going to look at abandoned cart statistics, conversion rates. And conversely, for another company, like a financial services company, we're going to be looking at the location of their traffic, how long people are staying on their site, etc. So everyone is going to be looking at different areas to actually get the answers to their questions. And we're going to talk about three of the methods for collecting and measuring and applying this data. And lastly, we're going to cover some examples of analytics that will help you better understand where you can improve in your business. You see here, we read this quote in an article that's from McKinsey and Company, and we think it applies to so many things that we do today. With the constant advancements in technology, many people rely heavily on technology to do things for them. I know that I do this all throughout the day. I'm sure that you do too. And while technology is a necessary tool, I know I couldn't live without it. We do have to make sure that we're adding a human element to it. And this quote for Nicole and I really reminds us that while we use analytics as a tool, as humans, we do have to make the final decisions based on our business goals. And occasionally that can mean our intuition as well. Piggybacking off of that, a common struggle for today for our clients is knowing where, when, and how much to incorporate tech into their business decisions. So we suggest always remembering these things. There should always be a human factor. You should never be relying 100% on tech, on AI, like we spoke about before. All of your decisions should be based on the priorities set by you. Whether your priority is to improve customer service, increase traffic to your blog, increase sales, things of that nature, that goal has to be at the forefront of your mind when you're looking up and setting up your statistics that you want to measure. Don't waste time measuring something that doesn't really matter to you in the trajectory of your business. The more targeted your approach is, the more value you're going to get out of it. So if you keep your approach broad and you're trying to understand every single analytic measurement you have, you will get lost, you will get frustrated. I can tell you will probably give up. However, if you can set specific parameters and measurements, you're going to be able to really clearly see areas of weakness or strength. And that's going to help you better understand how to improve and what changes to implement. Going along with that, the analytics should be based on your business challenges, your goals, and again, your specific industry. There are so many tools available out there. We'd be happy to talk with you about them. You can talk to your virtual assistant about it, but there's many tools available that can assist you in getting the necessary information. But you just want to make sure that you're choosing the right tool for your specific needs. So combining human intuition and technology is tricky, but there is a way to properly combine those techniques with each other. So first, ask yourself, When does it make sense to shift from a traditional human-centered method to greater automation of analytics and decision making? And how can we strike that appropriate balance to do that? So we have a couple examples here that I'd love to go with you. So the first is descriptive. So descriptive analytics relies heavily on decision makers' intuition and their ability to avoid biased data selection. This method is also called business intelligence because it typically involves a manager, a business owner, a decision maker looking at past tendencies and trends. And then this person decides what actions need to be taken to improve or reach your business goals here. This is the most common method we see. It's what most business owners are comfortable with because it's how they've always done things. And it's also the most cost effective. You might miss out on some valuable information in some cases, so that's important to know when you're looking at these examples. The next is predictive. So predictive analytics can forecast outcomes. They can predict customer behavior. It can segment markets dynamically. This is the method that helps the business owner see what's an educated interpretation of what is most likely to happen and create a plan of action based on that. This method relies a little more on the tech, but still relies on the discretion of you as the business owner or the decision maker to decide the next steps. Lastly, prescriptive. This is where prescriptive analytics use data to help the machines analyze market conditions, do it quickly, and learn it by running experiments, what-if scenarios, and you're still making decisions based on the manager's objectives. This is the most tech-heavy of the three options we talked about, and while you might be able to input your goals, objectives, the different challenges that you want to resolve, the tech really does the heavy lifting here of the research and the decision making. And this method is typically the most expensive option that we've seen in our experience, but it does give you a large amount of data and solutions and the smallest time taken out of your day, which is something that I know we all definitely want. So here's a visualization of each specific method and what each analytic machine does in a more specific way. I think that this graphic is just a really great way to be able to see what approach is going to work right for you. It might not be something that stands out to you immediately, but if you take a look at this and think about what your needs and wants are, you should be able to find if it's the descriptive, the predictive, or the prescriptive that works best for you. So let's talk about how to properly use these methods and these different three analytic methods and see some examples as to how they work. We've always found that the real life examples are the most helpful and that this is what can really make the biggest difference for you. So we talk about shaping strategies. So once you know your goals or objectives and what method works best for you and your business, you have to put the strategy in place. You need to decide what analytics you need to collect or pay attention to, as well as what you're hoping that these statistics will tell you. So the more you can uncover, the more informed you will be when making decisions on what needs to be changed. Don't focus too much on getting this right the first time. That is definitely some advice that I can give you. You can always add or take away the measurements that aren't assisting you in your decisions. You can customize this. Think of it as something that's living. It can be adjusted as you go on. It's not something that you're married to. So for an example here, let's say there's a company that's been receiving survey responses from clients about their customer service. And this survey shows that the longer a client is with a company, the lower their overall satisfaction is. So at first, this seems really strange because why would that make sense? If someone is very loyal to a company and has been with the company for a long time, presumably it's because they're really happy. However, for this specific business in this example, that's the case. Based on this data, so the company is going to decide to implement three things. First, they make sure that their automated agents' responses are more empathetic, less abrupt. Secondly, they set an automation in place to improve their response times to clients, to shorten those times. And lastly, they check their first response methods and interactions with customers. And they implement them to everyday interactions for recurring customers. And so once this is all implemented, they can use their analytics to keep tracking their customer service data and make alterations as needed. So without these analytics and without the results of this survey, the client may think just sort of surface level, I have these clients and customers that have been with me for a very long time. That's terrific. They're obviously happy. But again, looking and diving down into this data, that's not the case. So that's a really great example of why this is so important. So we already touched on this in the methods section. However, based on the research and studies, it really has a tremendous benefit for businesses. So we thought it was really important here to give you an example. So there's no hiding the fact that in 2023, there has been an inflation issue. It's something that we hear about on the news, on social media, and conversations with our friends and family. This has caused many people to cut back on their spending, cut back on luxuries, etc. Not every business has been affected in the same way. So the research and statistics show that this year people have cut back on buying things like new cars, home appliances, new furniture. But interestingly enough, restaurants, hotel, travel, those industries saw little to no cutbacks. And so predictive analysis tools can help businesses in these fields make an educated guess on how their target market is going to respond to certain things. So in this example, like inflation. And it allows them to make more effective decisions for their business moving forward. So this is where the predictive analysis is super important. It's not something that you can just guess on your own. You do need to have the benefit of these analytics to do so, but it's going to give you, again, tremendous value. So what we look for here is what I think is a pretty interesting statistic. So 81% of consumers search for companies online. 55% of consumers check out reviews. That's what the research says. I think it's probably higher than that, just anecdotally. And about half of consumers are checking out businesses' websites. Again, I think that's probably, that is what the statistic says, but just personally, I feel like that might be a little low because I know I personally do these things for any type of company I'm going to work with, whether it's someone that I'm going to work with as a vendor in my business or something I'm going to use for my home, some service or I'm going to use for my children, my family, etc. But these statistics can really show us how big of an effect your website and your brand has on your consumers. So that's why checking and monitoring your website analytics are really crucial to your business success, and it shouldn't be an afterthought. I know that as a CEO, as a founder, as a business manager, I know you have a million things on your plate. But this, being able to see your analytics and know what to do with them is really crucial. So here's what, looking at those analytics can tell you. If you are seeing low traffic on your website and people aren't staying on your site for very long, so generally you want to see someone stay on your site for about 2 minutes. That doesn't sound like that long, I know, but when you think about it in a practical sense, if you're spending 2 minutes or more on a website, you're spending a lot of time there. We're in such a rush society that doesn't always happen for us. So you want to be looking at that. How long are people staying on your site? Do they have the confidence to continue staying on your site? Are they making purchasing decisions pretty quickly? If you're taking, long time to load, your checkout process is complex. You could see high bounce rates, high rate of abandoned carts if you're in an e-commerce service. So a bounce rate is somebody that comes to your website, they come to your homepage and they literally bounce right back off. It means they don't go to any other pages on your site. So they go to your homepage, but they don't look at services or contact or blog. And that's not something we want to see. You want to see a low bounce rate. And it seems kind of counterintuitive because in most of your analytics, you're looking for higher numbers. So you're looking for high amount of traffic, high amount of conversions, long time people stay on your site. But a bounce rate is actually something that you want to see that's going to be very low. So your SEO data, scroll depth, that's what provides insights into your website performance. If this is something that just doesn't seem like it's in your area of expertise, it would be great to work with a VA that's a specialist in SEO, work with another type of vendor, just so that you can get that information from your site and see what you need to improve. Again, if you're having really low conversion rates, maybe you need to redesign your website. Maybe you need to make things easier, less complex. We're actually working, Nicole and I are working right now about redesigning our website, and it's a huge undertaking, and we're talking a lot about the user experience. So when someone comes to our site, what are they looking for? What can they do? Where should they go? And it's very easy. Nicole and I have been looking at this site for 15 years, so it seems very intuitive to us, and we think, sure, this makes sense to us. It doesn't always make sense to the users. So that's really important. You have to think of it from a user experience. Again, looking at the data points. But of course, any improvement that you make in your website that you can see on your analytics is going to ultimately just lead to a better company for you. It's going to lead to increased profits. It's going to lead to more customers, higher conversions, and that's really what we all want. So some key takeaways. Really what I would share with you if you're taking away anything from this presentation and this webinar is finding what fits your company needs. We talked about that it's not a one-size-fits-all, so make sure that you're using the methods, collecting the data that will help you improve in the areas that you're struggling with or to reach your goals. Goals are going to be different for everyone. It might be that you want a higher number of bookings on your site, whether that's booking a meeting with you, booking a service with you. Maybe you want people to stay on your site for longer and engage with your content. Maybe your customers are customers that don't buy your product or service isn't something that you buy in a quick, one-time decision. So maybe your goal is that you have returning customers, that they're returning to your site 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And that gives you a better conversion rate. Creating goals and objectives, as you know, with your business, without them, there's no way to create a strategy. And so if you can create those from the beginning, you can set up the analytics that are going to give you the answers to the problems you're trying to solve. If you need help with that, that's definitely something to reach out to your VA about. I know for our team, that's something that our virtual assistants are always happy to help with. And finally, stay open to change. Remember, you're obtaining this data to find weak points. You're finding your weaknesses. That's not always easy to hear, and you are going to have to make some changes in order, to improve the data, improve your business. You might look at your analytics and see that people are bouncing off your site like crazy. You have an 80% bounce rate, and that can be difficult to hear because it could be that you worked really hard at your website and your branding and your messaging, and to find out that people don't like it and they're bouncing right off and moving along, that can feel upsetting, but it's important not to take that personally and to be open to change, even if it's just little bits at a time. And so if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. If you're listening to this recording and not watching us live, reach out to us at any time. You can reach out to me or Nicole. You can find us on our website at virtualassistusa.com. If you'd like to email either Nicole or I directly, it's nicole@virtualassistusa.com. And you can find me at djc@virtualassistusa.com. And we'd be happy to answer questions. We love talking about this stuff. We really geek out on it. And so anything that we can help you with or offer more guidance, we would be happy to. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that we were able to provide some insights for you.